Hello, everyone. It's Adam Caplan here for Inside the Birds. We're doing our first audio and visual, you could call it, NFL mock draft. We'll do 32 picks. It's only one round. I don't do 2 rounds or 3 rounds. I know some people do all 7 rounds, but I do 1 round, which I've done for 20 some odd years. But this is the first time I've ever done an audio and video one. So it's going to be pretty cool. It's something different we're trying here at Inside the Birds. And let's get started, folks. Let's get right into it. And I don't, just a couple disclaimers. I do not do trades in these drafts, although I will talk about when we discuss other considerations about the potential of a trade. But I don't do trades in these things. I just give you an idea. I'm talking to people around the league about how they see the rosters of these teams. And remember, when you evaluate a roster, just like general managers do and front offices do, they're not drafting for 1 year. They're drafting for the future. The mock is never about 1 year. It's about the future with an eye on the current year. And that's really the way you should look at this. So when you see some of these picks, you go, wait a minute, they're not addressing this, this, and this, and this. For my team to win, they got to do this. It's not that your team doesn't know that they have this need for this season, but they're not drafting just for the season. They're drafting for the future, again, with an eye on this season. It's a little different than you think sometimes. And when I first started covering the league in the early 2000s, I didn't really know that. I made a number of mistakes trying to do these mock drafts because I was just drafting for the current year. I just didn't realize that, oh, you know what? I better start looking towards the future. Contracts, by the way, are taken into account. Future contracts or decisions have to be made where they might have to cut a player after the season or trade them. So you have to take that into consideration. But let's get started with the first pick overall. Goes to the Tennessee Titans. And I'm sure their front office, namely Chad Brinker and Mike Bergonzi, do not want to be in this position again to have the first pick overall. I know a lot of fans think they should trade down. I get that because they have so many needs. I've got their current and future needs as quarterback, which is obvious, receiver. They need edge rushers. They need to figure out right tackle, right guard, and safety. They need another safety. But listen, folks, when you look at the value of a roster and a position, the value board by position, I learned this from the late Gil Brandt in the early 2000s, sitting with Gil. I remember him telling me, because I asked him, how do you know, like, how do you put a board together in terms of value? He said, quarterback, left tackle for a right-handed quarterback, edge rusher, cornerback. Well, the Titans don't know who the future quarterback is. They don't even know currently. We know Will Levis is in the mix, but they're trying to figure out the future, and they're hoping they'll never be in this position again at first pick overall. So to me, considerations here are CamWard, who is the best quarterback for this draft, or Abdul Carter. They do need edge. They need to help out Harold Landry. There's no question about it. They need playmakers on defense. They certainly could use a receiver, but the value is not there. So we are going to go with this first pick overall as we turn in the card. And Roger Goodell, Commissioner Goodell, calls it out. CamWard, quarterback from Miami. That's the pick number 1. Number 2 goes to the Cleveland Browns, where, okay, they need a quarterback. Deshaun Watson is not it. Yes, they're stuck with his contract, but they need to figure out the future quarterback. They also need an edge rusher. Even if they have Myles Garrett not traded, they still need someone for the future opposite him. And obviously, if they're going to trade him, they're probably going to get someone back in a trade. Plus, they would probably draft somebody. But when you look at it, yes, left tackle is also an issue with Jedrick Wills, his contract being up. I know some people want them to take a receiver, not this early. So it comes down to me. The considerations are Ward if he drops to 2, or Abdul Carter. Since in this mock draft, Abdul Carter is there, we're taking Abdul Carter, the best player on the board here for the Browns. And this really helps solidify the edge rush group for this football team for the future. This pick is not so much for this season, folks. You got to look at contracts and down the line what potentially could happen here. Now, this is our first mock draft. We'll have a series of these leading up to the draft in late April. So I may change my mind, but right now we're going to go with Abdul Carter. So far we've got Ward going to the Titans and Carter going to the Browns at 3. This is where it becomes tougher. Because yes, the biggest need by far in this football team is quarterback. For the future, they need wide receiver. They also need a right tackle. They have to decide if Jermaine Illuminor is going to be the right tackle. They also could use a guard. They could use another corner. They could use another safety to pair with Newman. Obviously, they're not going with safety here. It's too early. Now, this is where it becomes tough. because Shedeur Sanders is going in the first round. I don't see, and again, we don't do trades, but if there are no trades in the real NFL draft, I can't see Sanders getting past 6 to the Raiders because they need a future quarterback. Now, theoretically, because the Giants have so many needs, sure, they could trade down. And they could also take, now this is where Travis Hunter is in play here at number 3. No question about it. Travis Hunter, who's going to play corner most of the time, he'll play corner as a change-up wide receiver. I thought long and hard about this because of the value of quarterback. Theoretically, yes, you'd like to trade down to get Sanders, but for now, we're going to go with Shedeur Sanders, the quarterback from Colorado, Deion's son, obviously. But the other consideration, and it's a strong one, is Travis Hunter, his teammate from Colorado. How cool would that be if they went back-to-back? So far, we've got it Ward, Carter, and Sanders, the first 3 picks in our first mock draft, audio-visual style. 4th overall on this draft, the New England Patriots, who need a lot of help. I mean, they were all over the receiver position in free agency. They had interest in Ayuk. They called the Eagles about A.J. Brown. They called everybody before Brown, of course, got his extension. They called around. They couldn't get anybody. They wanted Calvin Ridley. Ridley wanted to stay down south. The Patriots need offensive tackle help in the worst way. They need receivers. They need corner. They could use edge help. No question about that. But it comes down to the best player available for a current or future need. If Hunter's here, they're taking him, I would think. Now, will Campbell see that? I know a lot of people think they should go with Campbell. It's the value of the player. To me, he's not the value of Hunter. Hunter's a better football player overall. And we're going with Travis Hunter here, a corner. I would love to see him paired up with Christian Gonzalez. He is our pick here. Elliott Wolf, to me, and his personnel group, that they should take 5 seconds to turn this pick in if Travis Hunter is there based on the way this thing goes here. Now, what is there anyone else who could go here? I know some people would like Mason Graham for the Patriots to take him. I don't see it. I see Hunter being the first pick there. So we've got now 4 picks taken in this first round. Let's go to number 5. Mason Graham is a guy I know a lot of people want for the Jaguars to get to help solidify their front. I get that. If Travis Hunter is there, they're taking him. They need corner. And corner, by the way, is their number 1 need. And Hunter is the best player if he drops. I would agree with those who say Mason Graham. Yes, he is the best player on the board. Safety, I know they need it. It's not a value there. Guard, I know it's a need. They need 1 guard. It's not a value there. You don't take a guard that early. Unless he's like Steve Hutchinson, who's a potential Hall of Famer. So I don't see that. Hunter, it's a 5-second pick if he's there. If not, Mason Graham for the purposes of this mock, we're looking at Mason Graham, the D tackle out of Michigan, going at number 5 here to the Jaguars. We're ready for this quick promo. We got the Raiders, then the Jets. Oh boy, there could be a shakeup here at number 6 and number 7. So, folks, before we move on, I want to tell people about my friends at Stretch Zone. I've been a client for 4 years. My friend Dave Spadaro told me about them back in 2021, and I've never looked back. As soon as I went in there in December of 21, there was a game changer for me. I was blown away by how well I feel because I play tennis 4 to 5 days a week all year if I'm home. But the other reason why is, folks, if you're flying or coming back from a flight, or you're a kayaker like my wife, or a jogger like my partner Jeff Mosher. For whatever you do physically, whether you work in retail like my wife, or you're standing up, or you're a doctor, or a lawyer, if you're someone who's standing up a lot, you need to feel better. And be like me, you can get that free 30-minute stretch, which I did, by the way, back in December of 2021 in their Exton location. You can get it one of 3 ways. StretchZone.com. It takes about 30 seconds to fill out the information. You could call one of your local locations in PA or New Jersey, again, or you could go in person. You could do it anywhere like I did. You could do it like that. You could call, or you can go to the website, StretchZone.com. It's very easy. It's 30 minutes. And what I would recommend before we move on is get your hamstrings done. If you're bold like me, get your quadriceps done. That's the toughest one. Get your shoulders done if you're a pickleballer or racket sports of any type, or padel, which I love, by the way. I want to try padel. I love watching it. It's super cool. Get your shoulders done. Get your traps done. Traps are my toughest one from overuse from tennis. So just go to stretchzone.com and learn more and be like me and feel better. Stretchzone.com. All right, let's get back to it. Raiders. This one, see, obviously, if there's a quarterback here, Shedeur Sanders has to be the pick, but I have him going to the Giants at number 3. So if Sanders is gone, here are their needs here. Quarterback, cornerback, outside corner, big need. Running back, you're not taking Genty. I'm sorry, it's too early. Great football player. It's too early for running back. The value's not there. Receiver, yes, it's a need for currently and the future. D-tackle, Graham could be a consideration. They've got a big money guy at one of the spots, so I don't see it. They can get it later. Edge rusher, Max Crosby, his situation. Are they going to trade him? Are they going to keep him? They could also use someone opposite him if they keep him. But the best player on the board is McMillan, the receiver from U of A. He's a big-time playmaker, great size, great football player. He's the best player on the board. They got Brock Bowers last year. They're still if they take McMillan here, John Spytek, he knows the value of Mike Evans. He came from Tampa Bay. To me, that's the best player available. McMillan, the receiver out of U of A, at number 6 to the Raiders. Let's go to the Jets. This one was really tough because, yes, they need a quarterback of the future and now. They need a corner. DJ Reed is up. They need receivers. They got to make a decision on Devontae Adams, but they also need help. But obviously, if they kept him and redid his deal, he can't be making what he's on the books for. So they have to get through his contractual situation. And then obviously extending Wilson's contract, that's got to be in play here for their new front office. But Devontae Adams making $35.64 million is unattainable, so they've got to figure that out. But when you look at their needs here, tight end, right tackle, safety, and defensive tackle, it's really the best player on the board here. Corner, I know there's some good corners. Corner's definitely a consideration. I know some fans want them to take another edge rusher. I get that. I don't see it. I see corner. I see receiver, certainly here. And tight end, it comes down who's the best player available. I know it's not going to be popular with some people. I've got Tyler Warren. I'm going to put him in here. I'm going to pencil him in here because I could change my mind. He is by far the best tight end. He's one of the best players overall in this draft. I believe he's going in the top 10. This is the earliest I see him going. We're going to go with Tyler Warren, the tight end from Penn State, as the pick. The first 7 picks so far: Titans, CamWard; Browns, Abdul Carter; Giants, Shedeur Sanders, the quarterback; his teammate, Travis Hunter, going 4 to the Patriots; 5, Mason Graham, the D-tackle of Michigan; Raiders at 6, McMillan, receiver out of U of A, Arizona; Jets, Tyler Warren, the tight end. At number 8, any Panther fan knows this. They have the worst pass rush we've seen in years. They've got to get the best edge rusher for now and for the future. Yes, they need a D-tackle. I get that. It's a big need, but there's no value here. Quite frankly, at this, with Mason Graham going off the board already to the Jaguars. Sure, they need a corner, a safety, a receiver, but it to me, it's the best edge available. I know there's going to be a debate of which edge rusher. Is it Mike Green? Is it Jalen Walker? Is it Michael Williams? Williams and Walker, teammates from Georgia. I reserve my right to later on to change my mind based on talking to NFL people who teams have graded higher. Right now, I've got Michael Williams, the edge rusher from Georgia. Panther fans could take a big sigh of relief. They're finally getting an edge rusher, and that's been a major need for years. That is number 8, Williams, the edge rusher from Georgia, to the Panthers. Number 9, staying in the NFC South, we've got Jalen Walker as a big consideration here. We know they need a quarterback of the future. They're not getting one here. They need a corner. I get it. There's no doubt about that. They need an edge rusher of the future. They need a D-tackle. They need a tight end. They could get one later. To me, it's the best edge rusher available. It comes down to Walker or Mike Green. Teams ordinarily are not willing to take the smaller school guy over the big school player, which is why we're going with Jalen Walker here out of Georgia to number 9 for the Saints. Now, I'm strongly looking at corner here. Will Johnson's a consideration out of Michigan, but I've got Jalen Walker, the higher graded player for the Saints here at number 9. At number 10, I know fans want them to rebuild this offensive line. I get that, but you can't reach for need over the best player available. I know a lot of people want them to take Kelvin Banks, which would be a fine pick. They could upgrade it offensive tackle. Mike Green has got so much upside and so talented, the edge rusher for Marshall, Senior Bowl guy. It comes down to Banks and Green for me. I'm going with Green here. They've got to get edge rush help. They're good at linebacker. They're good in the secondary. I know they have to rebuild their offensive line. We'll do that later on for them in just discussions with notes before the draft. But I'm going to go down here with Mike Green, the edge rusher for the Bears at number 10. And then number 11, as we finish off the top 11 here in our first version, this is the first 11. We'll have two more versions of this, picks 12 through 21 and 22 through 32. The Niners, their current and future needs are D tackle, corner, receiver, outside backer. They run a 43, wide 9, and edge rush. And, edge rush, to me, I get the value. There's some guys here who are pretty talented. And of course, if Williams, Walker, or Green, that becomes a strong consideration. But to me, cornerback is their biggest need right now. They've got to get it solved here. Will Johnson at Michigan, to me, is the top-rated corner for us here at number 11. Now, when you're the Niners, I know some people want them to take receivers because they're kind of late there. I don't see the value in it. Barron, the corner from Texas, is a consideration. I don't see Amos going here out of Ole Miss. He's going later. Will Johnson, the value meets the need. This is a really good pick for now in the future. He'll start year one. He will go to the Niners at number 11. So our first 11 picks in our audio and visual mock draft here at Inside the Birds 1.0. Titans, CamWard, they get their quarterback. Browns, Abdul Carter, edge rusher from Penn State. Shedeur Sanders for the Giants at number 3. Patriots get Travis Hunter. Great. I love this pick here. This would be a great one if he makes it. They get a corner opposite Gonzalez. 5, Mason Graham, the D tackle from Michigan. 6, the Raiders, McMillan, receiver from Arizona. Tyler Warren, the tight end from Penn State, to the Jets at 7. 8, the Panthers finally get an edge rusher. Williams, the edge rusher from Georgia. 9, the Saints need edge rusher for the future and some for now. Jalen Walker, the edge rusher, another edge rusher from Georgia. 10, the Bears badly need an edge rusher. I mean, by far, the biggest need of this football team is an edge rusher. It meets the current and future need. It's a decent value, high-end edge rusher, really high-rising player. Mike Green, the edge rusher from Marshall. And finally, at number 11, the Niners, who need help at corner, they get it with Will Johnson from Michigan. Those are picks 1 through 11. On the next one, which is coming soon, we'll have picks 12 through 21. Until then, it's Adam Caplan here for Inside the Birds.